rocky theme you hear from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Miguel Acosta is in the ring, originally from Venezuela. He's taking on the man who's about to make his ring walk right now. The relentless one, Antonio Orozco, who's a perfect 23-0. And there you see him with that sweet logo designed by OG Abel, the A and the O. Now living and training in San Diego, California. Originally born in Torrance, California. His parents moved back to Tecate for 1st through 4th grade. And then somehow they said, we're leaving Tecate on the border and we're going to Garden City, Kansas. And if that sounds familiar, yes, Brandon Rios, Victor Ortiz. That's the fighters that have been coming out of Garden City, Kansas. And right now from San Diego is Antonio Orozco. Let's hear what that interview has to say.
You know, when I was in the amateurs and started progressing in the open class and moving forward and thinking about making a run for the professionals, I mean, Golden Boy Promotions was the promotion. And, you know, when the opportunity came and the signing was presented to me and it was in front of me, I mean, I just kind of had like a flashback of when I dreamt this moment would come, and it came true. With every fight, I want to learn something new, you know, learn how to work my way in there. And with that particular fight with Soto, I mean, he just showed me something that I hadn't seen before, you know, drawing a fighter in, you know, the movement that he gave me, you know, kind of moving me around using, you know, his arms. So it was definitely a fight that I was not expecting. You know, it got a little bit complicated, but we were able to make the adjustments that were necessary to get the win. The work has been good. You know, we've gotten, you know, aggressive sparring partners and we've gotten boxers. You know, going back to Fantasy Springs, fought there previous times, 4 fights, and you know, the fight's no exception. You know, fighting Miguel Acosta, former world champion, and you know, we're looking to get back in the ring, you know, be relentless.
Ready! Presentando primero en la esquina azul, con los pantaloncillos azul con blanco y un peso de 142 libras. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. Wearing blue trunks trimmed in white, he weighed in officially 142 pounds. Un veterano con 29 victorias, 8 derrotas, 2 empates y 23 victorias por knockout. This veteran brings an outstanding record that stands at 29 victories, 8 defeats, 2 draws, and 23 big wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, PA, here is Miguel Aguacerito Acosta. En la esquina roja, con los pantaloncillos negro con dorado y un peso de 142 libras y medias. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wears black, trimmed in gold, and he weighed in 142.5 pounds. Con un récord perfecto de 23 victorias y 15 ganadas por knockout, he is perfect in 23 professional bouts, all wins with 15 coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing San Diego, California, here is the undefeated, relentless Antonio Orozco. Once again, your referee, Eddie Hernandez.
Center. Your mouthpiece. That's your mouthpiece. All right, gentlemen, I've been over the rules with you both. You know what I expect. Touch gloves. Good luck.
Eddie Hernandez with the introductions. Let's look at the tail of the tape for this fight between Orozco and Acosta.
Orozco is the younger man at age 28. He is 6 years younger than Acosta. Acosta, however, is 1 inch taller and has a slight reach advantage.
We are ready to go. 10 rounds in the welterweight division. Antonio Relentless Orozco, Miguel Aguacerito Acosta. Orozco in the black with the gold trim. Aguacerito from Venezuela and Colombia, now living in Philadelphia for the last 3 years in the blue. Former WBA World Lightweight Champion. Has been in some brawls over the years. Age 34, he's 29-8-2 with 23 KOs. Antonio Orozco, a perfect 23-0, 15 KOs.
Let me tell you something. 6 or 7 years ago, Acosta was a marvelous boxer puncher. That was the peak of his professional career. He was in his prime at that time, and he beat back-to-back 2 undefeated top 10 contenders in Urbano Antillon and Paulus Moses to really announce his arrival into boxing. And when he lost the title, it was a tremendous fight. That was the Brandon Rios. And that's the only stoppage loss in recent years, probably in the last 10 years, that Acosta has suffered. And Rios really had to come from behind in that fight, if you remember, Steve.
I was actually ringside. I thought after 5 rounds, it could have easily been 4 rounds to 1 in favor of Acosta. Now, looking at him physically, even though he's moving up from his more natural 135-pound weight class, unlike the last fight we just showed, this does not seem like a...
And he's down here in the first round. Antonio Orozco in front of his good friend Mike Tolbert, the NFL fullback, drops Acosta in the first round.
It was a compact hook, I believe, is what stunned the veteran.
Orozco trains with the football player at the House of Boxing in San Diego, and here he is trying to run him over. Body shots landed by Orozco, the 28-year-old. And Acosta just taking a deep breath. Drop with the left by Orozco, and it is over. A first-round stoppage for Antonio Relentless Orozco.
Beto, I'll tell you what, that's a little bit eye-opening. As I've said before, sometimes it's not if you win, it's how you win. You can say what you want about Acosta, Doug. 4 straight losses coming into the likes of Richard Abril and Michael Perez. Bottom line, though, he had never been stopped in those 4 losses.
And he was competitive in those fights. Those weren't easy decision victories by his opposition. Acosta has never been blown out.
No.
He's never been dropped like this in the first round.
Doug, talking to him, he said he felt really good because he had time to train for it, knew what was going on in this fight. But on the flip side, Antonio Orozco said he felt something different for his fight. Because for this camp, he moved out of his house into a small little apartment, did not see his wife, did not see his kids. They were only a couple blocks away from him. He said somebody has to pay, and it was Acosta here in the first.
You know, Frank Espinoza, who's the manager of Relentless Orozco, was actually a little bit worried about this fight. And he felt as though coming off the Humberto Soto win on HBO, that they deserved and earned something better. I don't think there's any doubt. If you look at the ratings, Doug, he is rated by all 4 sanctioning bodies. I think he's a bona fide contender.
He is.
And you just wonder, who of the belt holders, Broner, Hostal, Crawford, there's not an easy belt, really. If you're going to win a belt at 140, you're going to have to earn it. But I'll say this about Orozco, with his style and mentality, whoever faces him, they're not getting an easy night at the office.
And he is improving from bout to bout, and he used to be just sort of like this come-forward body puncher. That was kind of his specialist.
Grinder.
And he's
Good
getting,
word, right? Because he grounded out Martino Norio before.
right.
He grounded out against Soto.
Stevie Forbes.
Stevie
you know.
Forbes, another one. And Acosta said he felt good. He's been training right. He just got blown out.
Beto, when you saw the Cazares, the way he matched up with Cancio, you look at him right now, if you take a look at the replay, this is a big guy. He's grown into 140. I thought
Left
this
to the
would
body.
go round, and it really was shocking how quickly this ended.
Yeah, his hands are quicker, the technique is shorter, and that's what hurt him first. It was a left hook right on the side of the head, just took the equilibrium of Acosta away. He couldn't. He tried to keep his footing, but he couldn't. And then Orozco comes in right for the kill, left to the body, left to the head, right on the temple. Forget about it.
2 years ago around this time, Antonio Orozco was in the same ring in the first round, and he got dropped for the first time in his career.
With Miguel Angel Huerta.
Huerta dropped him. After that, he said he opened up his eyes and he was ready to go, and he's been a different fighter. And you guys mentioned this division. It could really open up some eyes right now for Orozco.
When you talk about the Huerta fight, guys, and speaking to him for the story I did on UCN Live, he says that particular experience made sure that on this night, he was not going to overlook a guy like Miguel Acosta. Now, who does he face? Will politics keep a fight against Lamont Peterson from happening at the current moment? Probably. I love that fight, by the way, stylistically. Mauricio Herrera, he's got a date coming up. Ruslan Provodnikov is now on Showtime. It'll be interesting to see what Frank Espinoza and Golden Boy do here in terms of plotting out the near future of Orozco.
And Orozco isn't one to boast and brag. You're not going to see him on Twitter saying, oh, I'm calling this guy out. He has barely says 3-4 words when you do talk to him.
He's the anti-Broner.
No, he really is. I've always said that about Orozco. He's as reliable as the sun rising. He's the type of guy, if he moved in next door, you'd get lucky. He really is a solid, stable individual.
Congratulations, you just got an autograph signed.
And you know, guys, at age 28, he's right in the thick of his physical prime.
Yeah, he's actually just entering his prime, and it's by no accident. His manager, Frank Espinosa, came by and gave us a thumbs up, so I'm going to give him a shout out. But if you look at Orozco's record, you see Frank was grooming him to do what he did against Humberto Soto
Vamos a
last
ver los
October and what he did
54
tonight.
segundos. El primer asalto al referee para la pelea para el ganador por knockout. The end comes officially 1 minute 54 seconds, round number 1. Your winner by KO victory and still undefeated, relentless, Antonio Orozco.
Relentless Antonio Orozco, now 24-0, 16 KOs, Doug. I like his style, I like the way he fights. And Steve, I did not expect a first round KO.
I don't think any of us did. Even Orozco at his best is not a one-punch shocker. Doesn't necessarily have the eraser, kind of, wears you down, grinds on you. And Doug, taking a look at the dossier again, the other victory that I thought was very key in his development, tough 10-round fight against Emmanuel Taylor, who's a very solid operator.
Yeah, a young man, probably the more gifted athletically speaking, but a fellow prospect, somebody just as hungry as he was. So when you look at the last couple of opponents, Miguel Huerta, you got Martin Honorio, that's a veteran. Stephen Forbes, another veteran, a little bit more wily, a former title holder. Emmanuel Taylor, a young, hungry lion like himself, a fellow prospect. And then Humberto Soto, the dangerous spoiler-type veteran who was a 3-division champion. All of that experience combined tonight to give us what we had tonight, which was a statement.
And when we come back, we're going to catch up with Antonio Orozco, have Steve Kim's news and notes, and we have one more fight bonus coverage with the truth. Keandre Gibson coming up next from Indio on Ring TV Live. Back at the Special Event Center in Indio, California, Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher, and joined by the one and only Antonio Relentless Orozco, a first round KO. And there's a camera right there, Antonio, if you want to look. But I know you want to check out our suits because it's looking really nice right here. Antonio, the last couple of fights for you, they've been grinding fights. Humberto Soto was a tough one. Before that, you were grinding out a first round KO. Where did that come from?
First of all, we got to thank God, for keeping us healthy. I'm happy he was able to walk good and walk away. So, but like you said, these last previous fights, Soto, Emmanuel Taylor, Steve Forbes, I mean, these are the guys that build character, build a career. And, well, tonight, no, we weren't undermining,
you weren't
Acosta.
overlooking Miguel Acosta.
We're not overlooking Miguel Acosta. I mean, the training, the camp, it was just as hard-working as any other camp that we've had. We pushed ourselves a little bit more. And, it was just a blessing today. And, we look forward to what's next. But first, time to my kids, Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, whatever.
You got to go to T-ball.
You got to go to T-ball. I got games. And then we'll see what's next, My kids,
You have two boys.
2 boys and a girl, my princess, and they sacrifice too.
Yeah, Beto told
well,
us
here's their dad right here.
You sequestered yourself for this camp. No family contact.
That's right. I think after the last previous fights, it's come to this. Stepping away from the family, focusing completely in what we need to do, which is win. As long as we win, our name keeps on growing.
You didn't just win. You made a statement. You blew out a guy who people do not blow out. Did you know you could get rid of him in the opening round after landing that first hook that wobbled him?
No, definitely not. From the last fight, I learned that a hurt fighter is a dangerous fighter. I connected Soto in the last fight. He drew me in, countered with a perfect uppercut. And like they say in boxing, a hurt boxer is a dangerous boxer. So definitely we went in there working behind the jab, seeing what was open, and we're just working our combinations towards second nature to us.